Hi everybody, this is Neil Pryor here, NVP, as I'm known on most forums. Wishing you a very good morning. It's Saturday the 12th of January and we are now into 2019. So Happy New Year to those I haven't spoken to since last year. Meanwhile, this is my home website, FXCORRELATOR.com. I know everybody's familiar now with what I do. I trade strength meters, Forex strength meters. Been doing it for about 20 years now. Alongside having traded actually probably since the 1980s, early 80s. Just want to bring you up to speed with what has been happening in the last week, and perhaps talk a little bit about Brexit, which everybody is doing given the big vote next week. Just to remind everybody where I am, what I do, all the information here is at my CV area. I do a blog. Most days I'm posting. I don't do live calls, but what I do try and do, if you subscribe to me here, which is all free, is I will try and give you an idea of what the market's doing at all times, where the action is and what is actually happening. So for example here, I'm just rattling down here a little bit, but this is yesterday, and you know, you can read more, and I was commenting from about 7:50 GMT yesterday, and just saying people where the action was, and we'll talk about that in a minute, what was going on. If I recall, I was really chasing cable yesterday. I was chasing it down, I was chasing it up, and you'll see why when we look at the charts. So do go and have a look. You can access my free FX correlator here. Loads of free links and systems. Talk about if you can win. Is it possible to make money trading Forex or trading anything? And there's a nice area there where you click on more, and you'll see some of the other things I want to talk about: mind games, methodology, training that I'm offering or will be offering later this year, and so on. So I hope that's useful to you. So without further ado, let's have a look at my FX correlator, my indicator that looks at the 8 currencies. The 8 major currencies, global currencies, and see what was going on last week. So this is, if you were to download my FX correlator indicator, you will get a strength meter chart. Okay, you'll get 8 lines. You will see 8 lines, lots of squiggly lines everywhere, and each of these pertain to a certain currency. So what I've done here, I've just dragged another indicator down, and you can see the different colors there. Each of these colors represents these guys. Okay, and for example, if you see red there, GBP, where you see the red, that is sterling. And if you see a 0 here, against whatever moving average has been set for each of these currencies, which at the moment is 20. That's my default 20 period moving average. You'll see how well or how badly these guys are doing against the 0 line. Anything above the line means that that currency is bullish. Anything below the line is bearish. It's that simple. It's not that simple to make money off of it, but it really is that simple. And you will see hundreds of strength meters out there now offering all this stuff. They'll even charge you money for them. To offer you amazing secrets, but it's really not too much to be secret about, guys. Above the line is buy, below the line is sell. There's obviously quite a few things you can do, extra techniques you can add, extra rules, but that's really where you are if you want to start off and just get a rough idea of what's happening. I've been offering this free, I don't know, for the last 10-15 years to people. I built this about 20 years ago when there was not much strength meter stuff out there. Honestly, there was a handful of people trading strength meters on the retail side. A lot of quants doing it, obviously for the banks and the hedge funds, but not on the retail side. So I've been here a long time. And this index or indicator is pretty much as it was. I've got thousands of variations on it and derivatives that I've helped build and work with other teams and traders, but this is the original and best. It still works. So if we do take a look at last week on the 20 moving average, this is on an hourly. You can't see that. This is actually on an hourly chart, guys. And we're starting with Monday here, the 7th, all the way through to Friday. And I have to confess, whilst I still use this at times, it's not my primary indicator or set of indicators that I use. I have other more specialized ones for scalping and based on what I'm doing, but it's still, I still sometimes look at this. It gives me a nice lead into things, and it's very useful. It's much better at higher time frames as well, so the owl is pretty good. And obviously if you want to adjust your moving average, you make this lower, so you make it a 9 or a 7 moving average, you're going to get much faster movements. You make this slower, say you went up to 60, this will be much slower and smoother. It's entirely up to you. But on a 20, gives me an idea of what's going on. So just to give you a reading through this week, where I was and may have been when I was scalping, which is mainly the calls I kind of do on my Trade to Win, Forex Factory, and here at my website. What was I looking for? Well, Monday I can't actually remember what I was up to, but you can see here it got fairly cluttered. Monday. I mean, when these guys are all tight together, they're converging, that means that the market is a little bit not sure what it's doing. It was obviously having a bit of a hangover from the weekend. See, all these currencies are converging back in, which doesn't help too much for trading. It didn't really wake up until the US session. And then what happened? Well, we had some CAD here. Nice bull CAD coming out, pushing out, came back. CAD well into Tuesday was primarily where the buys were, big buys. Sell wise, yen had obviously had a good previous week. Back into the previous week, it was selling aggressively here, came back into the pack, came back out again into late US session. So yen was a good sell Monday. So really yen, CAD was where the action was on Monday. And go back and look at your charts and tell me what you think, because my whole priority is to get people on the right pairs trading the right things. So on Monday, especially on the US session, if you were looking at any CAD bull in any CAD pairs, and certainly any yen sells in any yen pairs, you were doing okay. You would have done okay. Coming to Tuesday, as I said, early Asian into early London, very strong CAD still, so I would have probably been on CAD, and then it fell backwards. That doesn't mean to say it fell through the floor, just means that its momentum slowed in terms of how it was buying. Same as yen. So again, in truth, late Asian into early London, again, can you see the convergence? Can you see how, if I look here at the lines, you see how all the lines are coming in here and the lines are coming in here? That's bad. We don't need that. We need energy. We need volatility in the market. We need divergence. Yeah, we need currency pairs, or the currency index is moving away from the zero, not coming towards the zero. That means that you've got low volatility, and you're not going to make much money on that. You need energy. So let's come back. What happened? Well, coming into US session, it was quite busy, wasn't it? The only currency that really stood out here was a massive sell-off on sterling here. So again, late London, early US, all through the US session. You're selling sterling, you were doing well. I would hope that I was selling sterling in my scalping. I probably was. And in terms of what's going on here, plenty to buy. Probably yen was obviously the best, came out. Doesn't mean to say it's the pair or the currency you must trade, but clearly it was the most volatile. Okay. Notice again, we come into Wednesday. Wednesday's always a funny old day. You usually get a big push normally on the first 2 days of the week. You get the currencies really pushing out, diverging, although this week wasn't the case. It was quite flat to me personally here. Wednesday's usually a changeover day, and that's when you can get some significant changes through Thursday, Friday. But what did we have? Well, we had early CAD in Asian, then it came off. And again, a lot of mess here. See the mess on this side, on the bull side? I mean, you could have picked loads. There's about 5 currencies there you could have bought at any time. Got the yen. You've even got the euro. Look at the blue euro here. Really pushing out. So blue euro was a good one to buy. On the sell side, unusually the US dollar got very bare there. It really was aggressive bear. It got beyond all the other currencies. So very, very good to sell. And again, you've got Aussie D in there, the orange Aussie D. You've got red sterling that came out. Oh man, CAD. Wednesday was a mess, guys. Got to be honest. If you go and look on my forum, let's go and have a quick look at what I was doing that day. Just gone to the 9th last Wednesday. To be honest, I wasn't feeling that well. I had man flu last week, cold. Let's see what I was saying. Let's just read more of this for a sec. Let's see what I was actually getting up to, and we'll look at how that compared to what the chart said I should be doing. So I didn't actually comment much, to be honest. In the end, I got through about halfway through the morning and just started to feel pretty rough. So what was I up to? So I'm just trying to match this line here. Don't worry about the times here because there's different GMTs on my charts to the real time. Just trying to see what I was up to. So apparently I was buying EJ. So if you look in here, well, can you see here? Clearly I was being driven by the fact that yen was definitely a sell, and for some reason I'd picked up that the euro was probably, this is because the euro is probably the most aggressive in the London session by this point, which you can see it is. You can see it's starting to turn up. So I was EJing at that point, and I think I did okay on that. Swissy's bull as well. I think again I'd picked up that the Swissy was really swinging north. Again, as I say, I trade differently when I'm scalping. And scalping, I tend to ignore what's really going on higher time frames. 823 CAD is the sell, right? So what I was also doing was I was completely ignoring during my London scalp session the fact that CAD had been strong, and I was actually realizing that CAD was going to come off, which it did. You saw it came off pretty quickly here, so I'd got into that. I was really looking for the lower time frame trends. So Euro CAD, my favorite scalp here. So yep, I was sticking with the euro. CAD was falling off. So I just wanted to bring that into perspective for a second, just to see what was going on that morning. Later on in the day, euro was very bull, as I said, and the USD was a sell. Let's look at Thursday very quickly. Again, the yen and the euro were initially strong, but they came off. In fact, a lot of convergence again through the night. The Asian session is notorious for killing off volatility, because it's probably the weakest session, unless the yen is really flying or something's happening with the Aussie D or New Zealand dollar. The Asian session, which is basically pretty much here, that's kind of the Asian session, and as you can see, the volatility got killed off before you come into the London, and then obviously the US session, where generally you get expansion again. You see these arrows showing how all the divergence starts again. Again, just things you learn when you're doing this stuff a lot, just getting an idea of things. So again, things cooling off into the London session, and then what happened? Well, sterling was a sell, and massive sell on the Swissy, which I did pick up on. I remember commenting on that. Swissy really got killed later on in the US session. And up here again, a selection of things to buy. It's quite a lot of the currencies you could have bought against the Swissy and made money. Then into Friday, and again we'll spend a little bit of time on Friday. Now interestingly, can you see here, that actually wasn't too bad an Asian session. Volatility generally held quite a bit actually, so that's always a good pre-warning that you could have a good London and a good US session. If you're pretty action-packed during the Asian session, then you're hoping that will continue. Doesn't necessarily mean that the currencies will continue on the same trend patterns, but what it means is volatility is high. And sure enough, what happened was we got some explosive action. I had a feeling that sterling was going to be rock and rolling on Friday, so I was intent on following it. To be honest, I was intent on following it, whatever it was doing. And as you can see, I wasn't disappointed. Early London into London session, you can see that it came flying down here, so I was selling it. Then, and again, I remember on my comments, I got into buying it aggressively through the rest of the day. And that is a massive swing there, guys. I mean, biggest swing of the week, as you can see, and actually the biggest move of the week. If you look back here, you can see that any other currency in terms of a 20 moving average divergence, nothing got anywhere near. That was miles above. It was a fantastic move, very volatile hit there from sterling on Friday. Whereas as you can see down here, down south, you know, there's quite a few currencies got into these areas. Not much. You know, you can see Swissy here. That's the CAD, and the euro got out here. Yen got out early. So again, giving you an idea of divergence. The way a lot of traders trade, by the way, is when they see currencies getting into these overbought and oversold areas, they tend to start reversing, which can work. I have tried it. I can do it at times. For example, I was very tempted up here. For example, when you get such an extension, that there is an opportunity probably to short sterling-based pairs. And it was kind of okay, but again, it's not my main. I do mainly trade trend guy, to be honest with you. So I hope that's been useful, just giving you an idea of where things were this week and where you should have been. If you step back to like the 1 hour, which this is, say a 20, it will give you a good steer as to where you need to be at times. Okay, selling anything below the line, buying above the line, always a good high level steer. And always, look for the alpha ones, look for the currencies that really do stand out. Okay, they might not stay in these positions for long because they're going to come back in, but it's always useful. Okay, I promised that I'd talk about Brexit. So you're looking at a chart here that goes back to 2016 in June, when we had the referendum and when red sterling, fell through the floor. What I've done is I've fixed the start level around here, around early June. So this is not moving averages, guys. This is the real movement of the chart since that date. Okay, so if you imagine that this is about the 0 point, so everything was zeroized there, you can see where the currencies in their relative terms have reached since that point. So we can see sterling had an initial sell-off, a big bump, then it came down even worse, and if we get through to this period, really dire. So around mid-October 2016 we were really in dire straits, and I'll give you a fib as well off of that. So this is the bounce off. So you can see that boy oh boy, we were in trouble. We were, I think it was something like I mean, this is not exact, but we were talking about 2,500 roughly pips, 2,500 pips down, massive percentage movements, 10-15% off some currencies, other currencies. Okay, and I've talked about this before in other videos where we came back. So if you imagine that's the drop off, you can see that we've managed to come back at times. There's a 50% retrace, then it sold off again. You can see the 50 really was quite a barrier initially. It came back through. So by the time we got to around, we're getting into late November 2017 into 2018, we were doing quite well. Okay, so we really had a nice little period here through early 2018, but then as you can see again, unfortunately, the rot has got in again, all the arguments, the infighting, the realization that things weren't going too well, and big push there. Tried to come up back in, when did we come back? It started to get a little bit of positivity back in September 18, Q3, Q4 last year, and as I recall, when is it? Yeah, around October time, November time, it's come off again. Okay, and this is where we are. So we are heading into the vote next week as to what are we doing. Are we going to settle for what we've got negotiated, or are we going to go into the realms of no deal or remain, whatever it is? But that is major uncertainty. Also notice that the blue euro is blue in this annotation, stayed pretty strong all the way through, and it's still holding above the pack. Big strong pack here. Everyone else since 2016 fairly neutral, slightly positive because of sterling's weakness. Remember, it's a zero-sum game. You add all these up and it'll add to zero, so zero-sum game on the G8. So sterling's pushed everybody above the zero, but some are stronger than others. So euro definitely strongest currency since 2016. So what's going to happen? Well, I mean, I always say this to you guys, I don't know, trade what you see. I'm not going to make guesses. I mean, I know what people are telling me. They're telling me that they're not going to approve it and we'll go into uncertainty, but I don't know. The question is, has the market factored that in or not? The market is the market. It will do what it has to do, and my personal opinion is, as we start to sell off down here, I think the market is pricing in a rejection personally, but the question is, when the time comes, will there be an actuality, and will we get, if for example they do reject it, will we get a nasty spike down? Probably, but I don't know. All I do know is I will watch the market on a session by session basis, hourly, weekly, whatever, and I will trade what I see. If sterling starts shaping up to go strong, I'll buy it. If it continues to sell off, I'll sell it. Interesting thing, what I do know is obviously this is the platform at the bottom here. That's definitely where I see that it should be interesting, and I will look for areas of support and resistance here. Obviously there is a support level there, which I'll look at right here. Does it bounce that? Does it breach it if we get bad news? If it doesn't, look for bounces and so on. But we'll just have to see. Okay, we'll just have to see. That's the way it works. You know, this is a good area. If it comes down to here, definitely be looking to either bounce it up or sell it. Just sell off of where it goes from here. But again, I don't know yet. This is a daily chart, so this is enormously high. Make that a little bit higher, make that a bit bigger for people. You can see where we are. So we'll have to see. That's actually quite a lot of pips, guys. That's big pips. That's 1860. I mean, there's 200 pips even there. This is why this is so big, and you probably need to get more granular, get into lower time frames to see where we are. But clearly the trend is down, and let's just see. If I was hoping that sterling is going to get stronger, then obviously I'd probably look at that level and then try and move up above here. So here, yep, if we get above this level of resistance, start coming up into this area, that'll be nice. But I don't know. But there's, I suppose, if I was looking on a daily basis, I'd probably go much tighter inside the 5s, 15s, obviously hourlies. But here's where my range is, and that is a 300 pip range. So again, you can't be trading them unless you're very, taking like weekly, monthly positions. And that's where the big guys will be watching. They'll be watching those levels on the indexes anyway. This is an index, remember. Anyway, I've talked enough. I just want to leave you there with my comment, which I left today, I think. Brexit. And it's just trade what you see. Yep. That's what I want you to do. Trade what you see. Don't tell any drivel from commentators or what the market's saying. Do you buy sterling? Do you sell it? I mean, euro pound as a pair. If I see signals that it's going to go up, I'll buy it. If I see signals it's going to go down, I'll sell it. But more importantly, if I find other pairs showing more volatility, like we talked about today, I will trade them. I won't waste my time on currencies that are not moving. I go straight to whatever's moving. 28 currencies, 28 pairs in the G8. I will find the best 2 or 3. Okay, this is MVP signing off, and I hope you have a great trading week next week. And let me know how it goes with Brexit. I think it's going to be very exciting. Cheers, guys. Bye.